the latest obsession that is going on right now within the movie sphere around the world, and that is the new movie Obsession. Steven, let's give us a little bit more of a deep dive into this new hit.
Okay, here we go. So, logline: after breaking the mysterious One Wish Willow to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic finds himself getting exactly what he asked for, but soon discovers that some desires come at a dark, sinister price. Okay, so that is the logline. And let me tell you something. And the reason why it's a buzz right now is because this movie costs less than $1 million to make. And up until today, as of June 3rd, it has made $155 million, a truly spectacular feat. Now, horror is the only genre that you can really do that to some degree in, but credit to Curry Barker, the writer-director.
Yeah, maybe comedy could pull that off too, and we have compared it in previous episodes, but I think that this is there's more to discuss about this movie. I think at the ground level, the execution of this movie was really well done. I think it was almost described as, it's not necessarily pop-up scares. It's almost like a delayed, like when you think something's going to hit and scare you, it happens just like a few beats longer. But I think, it was compared, and I know Curry Barker's inspiration for it when he was in talks with his cinematographer, and they sat down and watched Hereditary. So that was, a very much in vein of what this Obsession movie is. So if you haven't seen it and have seen that movie Hereditary and liked it, I think you got another one here. But more than just that, I think I want to touch in before we dive into kind of Barker's YouTube background and kind of maybe what's showing itself as precedents for what is going to be happening more so in like the space of filmmakers and new auteurs and creators coming up and making big blockbuster hits. But an interesting element of this in terms of production wise is that he would go in and scan each location and render in his actors and would in the 3D space build the shots first. So he would make the movie beforehand in an animated space, which is cool, a cool little production little hack for pre-production in terms of how much you storyboard and plan the stuff out. And I think it's a great example of that paying off, of doing that due diligence, of knowing these shots, because when you get there and mess around, you got to know these shots and they play into each other. So big kudos to there, and it goes to show YouTubers are a serious threat to, not a serious threat, but like they're today's, if you wanted to make movies, you want to make it, as we've worked in Hollywood, you're not even making movies. You're just helping go get like a prop or go get coffee, meals, maybe you have a more profound job, you're making, the movies, but the freedom that YouTube has offered for these artists to create their own things, it obviously is creating some serious talent. And now A24 and Blumhouse, or I think it was Blumhouse, which I think purchased this movie, who's the ones who really make them. I think they purchased this for what, like 20 something or something really small, so they're making the real money off of this. But Barker's going to have a lot of work coming his way. I think after this, and this is kind of what we saw with Weapons a little bit, is these scary movies are almost the new short film of like how you establish yourself as like a director in the industry. Is like make a good scary movie is a great entry point for a director in the modern day cinema world of the people aspiring to make movies. Is, hey, maybe go out and try to make a really cheap horror movie. That being said, he made a couple, don't think that he just poofed and made this movie and this was just done for like $10,000. There was millions of dollars invested in this movie, and that was because he did smaller scale ones on YouTube. and like proved, it started out with just cheap skits that probably cost nothing. It adds up. So keep making stuff. It's paying off for people. So, if you're an aspiring filmmaker out of here, what I see out of this obsession is, go make your movies, keep making it. And, the avenues to get there are going to continue to change, but, don't worry about that. Just keep making stuff that excites you. So that's kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah, it is exciting. And I hope that Hollywood will pick up on this idea of like, hey man, just give a young kid a couple million, give him a shot. Give him a shot. You never know. We can't be relying on the old guard of directors to continually put out new stuff when there's this really rich and plentiful talent that just has yet to be plucked out. So thanks for watching, folks. If you have seen Obsession, let us know what you think.